Hi everyone, welcome back to Brook Valley Life, or hello for the first time. Today we're talking about sights and aiming. Now let's think about how we actually aim. Yep, when we are aiming at something, we're looking at it. Now if we put our fingers out, and we look at our finger and then we look at a target behind it, you'll notice that you get usually two fingers when you focus on the target, or two targets when you look at the finger. So usually when you're with a coach, the coach will tell you to always look at the target, focus on the target, not on your sight pin. Your sight pin will be slightly blurred, but you focus on the target. Keep both eyes open. It allows more light into your eyes for one. And this is where your dominant eye takes over. So it isn't usually, depending on whether you shoot right or left-handed, isn't usually if you're right or left-handed. It's which is your dominant eye. Because if you shoot right-handed and your left eye is dominant, it's going to really screw with how you are trying to aim at a target. So there's one thing. Two, anybody who has ever played like army things and shooting a gun and all these things, when you aim, you need 2 points of reference. One at the front and then something at the back as well to reference against it. So up and down, side to side. Because I could have this bit at the front and it could be on the target, however, the back end I'm looking over here, so when I shoot, the arrow is going to go one way or the other. So you need 2 points of reference that you can actually line up, look through, look at your target, get those two references lined up, and away you go. You should be able to aim. Now this is on a gun, you've got your foresight and your rear sight, or you've got your eye and then you've got your scope. We don't use scopes in recurve archery. You use a sight pin, and this is your front sight, and your rear sight is your string. Now lining up the string, you can put it wherever you want. It can move left and right, and this is what gives you your left and right movement. So if you're slightly off, it could be where your string position is for that day. Could be due to other things as well, but that's one of the things. So you need to get a reference that you can keep going each and every time. Now I've got a sight pin just here, and I've got a pencil. Sorry about that. Pencil's going to be my string. So if I put that up at the target, so I'm the target, you're looking through to me. Yeah, we could be off to the side like this, and we don't know which way it's pointing. So to get the rear reference, we've got our string. Now this string could be anywhere around, and just remember that if we're focusing on the target, you're going to have two sight pins turn up in your eyes. It just happens. But what usually happens is your sight pin, the second one, is usually where your riser is, so you can't see it anyway. But now, as I said, we need to have that rear reference point. Now, some people have it going up the riser. Yeah, the inside of the riser. Other people have it against the side of your sight pin, like that. So you've got your rear reference, and it will be a big fuzzy string picture, and then a fuzzy sight picture, and then you look through down to the target, which should be clear if your eyesight's any good. Great if you're wearing glasses. I have mine there. By referencing that string, it also helps you keep the bow vertical as well, no cant on it. And for an Olympic archer, that is important, because if your bow is canted, it's going to get the arrow one way or the other as well. If you do it every single time exactly the same, perfect. Doesn't really matter then. But if it is different each time, your arrows will hit left and right. So, sight pin, string, reference them together, aim on target, away you go. Yep. Pretty simple for aiming, and it works for all different sights you've got. You can have the most expensive sight, yeah, all it's doing is either moving the sight itself, is being solid and holding this in position, but it allows you to move this up, and remember I'm in New Zealand, so it's opposite. So you can move it up, down, or left and right. And what we'll do is we will go outside, and what I'll do is I'll actually shoot in the center, and then I'll move my sight up and see what happens where the arrows go. I will move it down, see where the arrows go, and left and right, and see where the arrows go, and see what effect moving this sight pin has on where our arrows hit. Now, the other thing that I only found out about yesterday, and I've always thought this has got to be a thing, and I've never done any research into it, is light. And it's the light actually hitting the string and causing shadows, and it makes it look like your string isn't where it should be. I've had it outside where throughout the day, as the sun's gone across the sky, my arrows were moving further and further one way. And I'm thinking, what's going on? Is something loose? And even inside, well, I've done indoor shooting, indoor competitions. You usually shoot in a single lane, and then you go on to match play where you go to different areas. And because you move position for the match play, the light in there will be slightly different and cause this shadowing effect on your string, which makes it look as it's in the wrong position. And you could shoot an arrow and it will be quite a way left or right, even up and down sometimes, but usually left and right. You need to take that into account when you're shooting, especially indoors and outdoors, of course, with the sun. So it's just something to remember. That shadow from the light moving will cause your arrows to move left and right. So let's take our bow outside now. Yeah, we will start shooting, start moving left and right, and just show you what effect it has, and if we are hitting high, which way we move our sights, if we're hitting low, if we're hitting left, if we're hitting right. So let's go shoot some arrows, go and enjoy ourselves. So here we are outside with the bow, everything's set up ready to go. And what I'll do is I'll shoot some arrows down the end. I'll say I'll shoot 3 arrows, and then we'll start moving the sights and see what happens to our arrows. So let's give it a go. And I'm using a new microphone, not just using the one straight from the camera. So hopefully you can hear me a bit better. When I say the camera, the phone. And no, I don't use an Apple iPhone, I use Samsung. Let's start again. All in the center-ish. So what I'm going to do is we're going to take our bow. Now the way we do, or the sight I should say, the way we do this is if you're low, you follow your arrows with the sight. You drop the sight. If the arrows are high, you follow them up with your sight, you lift it up. Same with if they're to the right, you move it to the right. If they're left, you move it to the left, and that will bring them back into the center. So let's just show you. They're in the center, I can bring them up. So to bring them up, I would move this down. It's the opposite of what you do. So what I'm going to do is move that about 10 clicks or 10 bits down on here to there. And what we should see now is our arrows actually moving higher in the target. So we've dropped the sight, arrows should be higher in the target. Hopefully they can see that, or you can see that. That's just off the paper high. And that is just 10 things on here. That one's a bit low because I dropped my arm because I had something crawling on me. One more. But as you can see, the arrows have gone higher. That was just a really bad shot, but it still went higher. So what we've got is moving our sight pin. If your arrows are high, low, left or right, you can adjust it so you can bring your group back into the center. You can also, if you've got a really windy day, there's two ways of doing this. You can actually move the sight itself, or you can aim off. I usually aim off because you never know if the wind's going to die or not, and yeah, it's better to have it set for center and then move off target, because gusting wind, it can be a nightmare. Now, the other thing we talked about downstairs is the lining up of the two things. We have our string, we have our sight pin. I line my string just on the inside of here on the sight pin. Yeah, that is my reference of side to side, and that's what stops the arrows. I'll just put this down quickly. Going left and right. If you can get that in line every single time, fantastic. That's what you want. Now the up and down. The up and down is all to do with where you anchor. You need to anchor in the same spot each time, and also it can be to do with how much pressure you put onto the string with your fingers in different areas, and whether or not your arm comes back in the same position each time. I've found that sometimes my arm drops a bit like this, yeah, and when it does that, my arrows go low. High, sorry, boom, and it goes high. When I lift up like that, they go low. So it's getting a consistent, yeah, come back, expand, and then as long as you can get that the same every single time, you'll be sweet. Practice, practice, practice is the only way to get better in this game. Good. So sights, that's how we use our sights. Follow your arrows with your sight to bring it back into the center. We've shown you moving it up and down, what can happen. Yeah, and keep practicing. The more you practice, the better you'll get. And this way, yeah, get into that break 500 that I'm doing at the moment. See if you can break 500 and then move on from there. Please hit the like, please hit the subscribe, share with your friends, and I will catch you next time. Bye bye.